Daddy, I can't marry him. I'm sorry. I just don't love him. Well, it matters to me.
You've probably seen it on your feed. The full beat is officially passé. Goodbye cut crease eyeshadow and sharp contour. Hello clean girl aesthetic. It's all about fluffy brows, strategically messy buns, and glowy skin that says I woke up like this. Even though it took 3 serums, a $48 skin tint, and some strategic lighting to get there, the new beauty ideal is soft, minimal, and natural. But make no mistake, it's still curated. We're no longer chasing Instagram face, which is snatched jawlines and airbrushed cheekbones. But we haven't escaped the performance. We've just changed the costume. The pressure to look beautiful hasn't gone away. It's just been rebranded as effortless. Because here's the twist, if Instagram face is out, why does it still feel like we're performing for the same invisible judge? In this video, we're diving into the sneaky evolution of beauty standards. We'll explore how the hyper-curated aesthetic of Instagram has morphed into a subtler, but just as demanding version of minimalism. We'll trace this modern look back to the fresh-faced icons of the 80s and 90s and explore how Gen Z, despite rejecting mainstream beauty, still feels trapped under its weight. Finally, we'll unpack how today's version of body positivity has quietly shifted into something much more insidious: soft body policing. Chapter 1, the death of the Instagram face, or is it? There was a time, let's say the late 2010s, when there was only one way to look beautiful online, and that was the Instagram face. You know the look, brows laminated and arched into perfect symmetry, cheekbones so chiseled they could cut glass, lips overlined into a pouty pillowy pout, and that now iconic fox eye shape pulled upward by liner, shadow, or in some cases, literal thread lifts. Skin was matte, but somehow glowing, with absolutely no visible pores, just a smooth, plastic, dull texture that made you look both impossibly flawless and entirely unhuman. It was the kind of face that looked better on camera than in real life. This look wasn't just unpopular, it was omnipresent. Instagram face became the digital passport to relevance, especially for influencers. Whether you were promoting makeup, fitness, fashion, or lifestyle, you needed that face to be taken seriously. It wasn't aspirational. It was aspirational, algorithm friendly, and endlessly replicated with the right mix of products, lighting, and post-production editing. Kim Kardashian, Bella Hadid, Kylie Jenner, all were either credited with creating this aesthetic or becoming its most iconic ambassadors. It was less about individual beauty and more about adopting a uniform, a face optimized for the front-facing camera. But fast forward to now, and the aesthetic mood has dramatically shifted. Scroll through TikTok or Pinterest and you'll see people not only rejecting that look, but parodying it. There are trending videos mocking the old Instagram baddie era, complete with intense contour routines, false eyelashes, and cut creases. Instead, beauty influencers today are swapping heavy glam for something softer and supposedly more authentic. The new cool girl doesn't sculpt her cheekbones. She taps on a bit of cream blush. She doesn't wear matte foundation. She swears by skin tints and dewy highlighter. Full glam lips are out. Lip balm and gloss are in. Celebrities too have pivoted. Hailey Bieber's entire brand is built around glazed minimalism, skin that gleams with health and luxury. Zendaya, who once graced red carpets in full glam, now leans into red carpet looks that feel fresh-faced and modern. This new wave of beauty is about skin, not sculpt. It's about radiance, not drama, and yet it's still work. That natural-looking face, it requires a 10-step skincare routine, bi-weekly facials, SPF layering, gua sha massages, and a full arsenal of expensive glossy packaged products. The rise of this no makeup look came at a time when maximalism felt tired. Post-pandemic, there was a collective craving for something that felt real, stripped back, and grounded. The world was in crisis, and spending an hour on your makeup to sit in lockdown started to feel absurd. The result? A beauty backlash. The pendulum swung toward minimalism and authenticity, though. As we'll see, authenticity in the age of filters is a slippery illusion. The shift wasn't just about makeup, it was emotional. In a world oversaturated with highlight reels and overexposed perfection, we began to crave something raw. We wanted celebrities who posted no-filter selfies, even when the lighting was definitely filtered. We wanted influencers who looked like they were just like us, waking up, drinking iced coffee, and casually applying 5 layers of serum for that glow. Brands caught on fast. Glossier built an empire around the idea that skin was the new foundation. Campaigns began featuring freckles, bare lips, and brushed up brows, and just a hint of mascara. The cool girl aesthetic shifted from being the most glam to being the most effortless. But the irony? That effortlessness is as performative as ever. Because here's the catch, and it's a big one. The new natural is still curated. It's just sneakier. Where Instagram face shouted, "I'm trying," this new aesthetic whispers, "I'm just born this way." Instead of broadcasting your transformation, you're now expected to conceal the work it takes to look good. The message has shifted from enhance yourself to perfect your base, clear skin, fluffy brows, healthy glow, all of which take time, money, and maintenance. And that's where the real danger lies. When the standard is hyper glam, there's at least an acknowledgement that it takes effort. When the standard is effortless beauty, the bar is still high, but now the work is invisible. If you don't naturally look like Hailey Bieber's morning skin or Sophia Richie's just threw this on face, you're left wondering what's wrong with you. And worse, you feel like you shouldn't have to try. This shift isn't freedom, it's just a new kind of pressure. Because the truth is, we haven't dismantled Instagram face. We've just disguised it behind a layer of dewy moisturizer and a better filter. So let's be honest, have you ever felt more pressure to look naturally pretty than you did to be full glam? Because it's the same. Chapter 2. The natural look has always been a lie. The idea that we're suddenly obsessed with natural beauty might feel like a fresh trend, but it's really just a rebranding of an old illusion. A myth we've been sold for decades. Let's rewind to the late 1980s and the early 1990s, an era that gave rise to its own version of the clean girl. Before Glossier's skin first, makeup second motto took over TikTok, we had Cindy Crawford's signature mole and voluminous hair, Jennifer Aniston's glow in Friends, and Kate Moss's waif-like "I'm not even trying" vibe in every Calvin Klein ad. These women embodied what magazines called the fresh face ideal. Nude lips, softly feathered brows, just enough blush to suggest a brisk walk, and eyes that sparkled but never with the shadow. At first glance, this look screamed effortless, but behind the scenes, it was anything but. Photographers like Herb Ritz and Steven Meisel worked with entire glam squads to create these natural portraits, carefully balancing soft lighting, contouring with bronzer, and precision hairstyling. The supposed minimalism was actually a highly calculated aesthetic. Your features had to be symmetrical, your skin flawless, and your weight unobtrusive, and your beauty crucially non-threatening. Even the barely there makeup was airbrushed to perfection on magazine covers. There was nothing natural about it. This was also the era when the model off-duty fantasy took root, setting the stage for a beauty ideal that's still widely popular today. The concept was simple. You're meant to look like you just rolled out of bed, with perfect skin, tousled hair, and a silk slip dress falling off one shoulder. The aesthetic was casual, undone, and chic, but only if it followed specific rules. The messy bun had to be artificially disheveled, the skin had to be clear, the vibe had to say, "I didn't try," even if hours were spent achieving the illusion of not trying. This fantasy wasn't just about makeup, it became a cultural blueprint. It gave rise to the cool girl archetype that defined the 2000s. Gwyneth Paltrow, Cameron Diaz, and later Blake Lively. These were women who supposedly didn't care about beauty routines, but still managed to look flawless at all times. Gwyneth Paltrow famously said, "Beauty to me is about being comfortable in your own skin." But that comfort was built on access to the best skincare, personal trainers, macrobiotic diets, and let's be honest, an early introduction to injectables long before they became mainstream. The natural look has always been aspirational, but only for those who fit within the very narrow mold. In the 90s, this mold was firmly Eurocentric. thin lips were suddenly out, pale complexions were in, and textured hair was nowhere to be found in mainstream beauty campaigns. And I remember, in the 90s, everyone wanted that poker straight hair. Freckles and bare skin were celebrated, but only on white women. Acne, melanin-rich skin, scars, or textured pores weren't part of the glossy narrative. The message was clear. You could be natural as long as your natural conformed to a very specific and sanitized ideal. And if this all sounds familiar, it's because we're living through the same aesthetic playbook, just updated with ring lights and skin filters. The 2020s version of the natural beauty has more skincare steps, more SPF, and more diversity on the surface, but dig a little deeper and the same rules apply. Today's clean girl still tends to have glowing skin without visible pores, full lips with no cracks or discoloration, and dewy lids without creasing. She's still often thin, white, or light-skinned, with bone structure that photographs well on an iPhone. She wakes up like this, but only after her $300 facial and custom skincare fridge. And let's not forget filters. The modern natural is now digitally enhanced, giving us the illusion of flawless skin that simply glows. TikTok and Instagram filters are more subtle than ever. They lift the eyes slightly, smooth the skin imperfectly, and even adjust the lighting to blur imperfections. Unlike the harsh glam filters of the early 2010s, today's filters are meant to be invisible, and that's exactly what makes them dangerous. They blur the line between what's achievable and what's an algorithmic hallucination. When we compare our actual faces to these subtle enhancements, it doesn't feel like we're chasing perfection. It feels like we're just falling short. The issue isn't that people want to wear makeup or not wear makeup. It's that we keep being told a lie, that looking naturally beautiful is achievable without effort, without cost, and without privilege. That some women simply glow, while the rest of us are stuck wondering what's wrong with our real, flawed human faces. So the question is, why do we keep falling for the illusion of effortless beauty? Is it just clever marketing, or is it something deeper? Something about the way we've been taught to equate ease with value and effort with desperation. Is it our cultural obsession with controlling how much we appear to care without ever appearing insecure? Because at the end of the day, the natural look has never been about letting go. It's been about pretending that we never had to try. Chapter 3, Gen Z, Beauty and the Illusion of Choice. At first glance, it seems like Gen Z has shattered the beauty rulebook. Scroll through TikTok or Instagram, and you'll find a vibrant mosaic of styles, subcultures, and self-expression. There's the hyper online e-girl with graphic eyeliner and anime-inspired blush. There's the Y2K revitalist sporting skinny brows, butterfly clips, and glossy pink lips. The soft girl floats in cloud skin and pastel tones, while goth fairycore girls channel witchy Victorian vibes and post moody, grainy selfies under candlelight. It's chaotic, it's colorful, and it seems so liberating. In many ways, it is. Gen Z is undeniably more inclusive in how it defines beauty. There's greater visibility for different skin tones, body types, hair textures, and gender expressions that we've seen even a decade ago. There are movements to normalize acne, celebrate plus size, embrace natural curls, and challenge the need for Eurocentric features. It feels like the landscape of beauty has cracked open, and in its place, something more democratic and fluid has emerged. But beneath the rainbow of aesthetic diversity lies something more insidious, the persistent pressure to still be beautiful, just in a more curated, stylized way. Whether you're cosplaying 2004 Paris Hilton or embodying the clean girl with slick back hair and glazed skin, the expectation remains the same. You need to be aesthetic. In other words, you can experiment with style, but you still need to be digitally presentable. Beauty today isn't about fitting in to a single mold. It's about selecting a brand. Your face is still your resume. It's your content, your algorithmic currency, your filter-compatible canvas. And because aesthetic freedom is so celebrated online, there's a paradox at play. You're free to look however you want, as long as you still look good. Take the weird girl aesthetic, for instance, messy hair, mismatched clothes, purposely clashing accessories. It's an anti-polish in theory, but the weird girl still has to look cool in her weirdness. Her skin still glows, her eyeliner is chaotic but symmetrical, her vibe is intentionally unbothered. It's calculated randomness. Even rebellion must be photogenic. And then there's the algorithm, the invisible tastemaker that decides what's hot and what's not. TikTok, while marketed as the raw, authentic alternative to Instagram, still pushes a very specific kind of content, and by extension, a very specific kind of face. Scroll your For You page and notice how often the most viral videos feature people with soft, symmetrical features, glossy skin, and trend-savvy styling. Diversity exists, yes, but the platform still favors a certain kind of beauty that's deeply conventional under the aesthetic flair. The person behind the e-girl eyeliner or pastel filter is still more likely to go viral if they're thin, light-skinned, or classically attractive. Even filters have evolved to support this illusion. Gone are the puppy dog ears and flower crowns of Snapchat circa 2016. Today's filters are almost undetectable in some ways, and that's what makes them dangerous. They subtly lift the eyes, plump the lips, and blur imperfections just enough to give you that soft glow, while pretending it's just your ring light. Many of them are branded as natural or skin enhancing, implying that they simply smooth over what's already there. But these effects blur the line between what's achievable and what's augmented, creating a new baseline for what natural beauty is supposed to look like. And for Gen Z, this blurred line is their baseline. Many of them are growing up in a world where filtered faces are the standard. The concept of seeing yourself unedited has become almost radical. Face filters, face tuning apps, and beauty enhancing lenses are no longer just fun, they're habitual, even default. When a filter corrects your jawline, you start to see your real face as the distorted one. And that's not liberation, that's just a new form of aesthetic anxiety, baked into every selfie and story. There's also an economic layer to this illusion of choice. Many Gen Z creators are influencers or aspire to be, and in that economy, your face is your brand. You're expected to maintain an image that is marketable, digestible, and endlessly scrollable. The idea that you can just be yourself online is complicated by the reality that yourself still has to perform. Whether you're selling skincare, lifestyle vibes, or an anti-aesthetic authenticity, it all has to be packaged beautifully. Your face is both the product and the packaging. So while it may look like Gen Z is rewriting the beauty narrative, what's really happening is a remix. The packaging has changed, the language has shifted, and the filters have gotten more sophisticated, but the pressure to be attractive effortlessly, constantly, and across multiple aesthetic lanes is still very real. So let's ask the real question. Is Gen Z actually breaking free from beauty norms, or are we just dressing up the same old expectations with thrifted cardigans and natural light filters? Because when every aesthetic is filtered through the lens of what's pleasing to the eye and what's rewarded by the algorithm, freedom starts to look a lot like another cage. Chapter 4, From Body Positivity to Soft Policing. It wasn't that long ago that body positivity movement felt like a genuine revolution. Social media feeds were filled with unfiltered selfies showing stretch marks, acne, hip dips, cellulite, belly rolls, and even skin textures, all posted with a sense of radical defiance. Women of all sizes and backgrounds were reclaiming their bodies, not as decoration for the male gaze, but as sites of power, lived experience, and unapologetic presence. For a while, it felt like the beauty conversation was finally moving away from control and shame, and towards self-love and liberation. But that energy has quietly faded, or rather it's been co-opted. Somewhere along the way, the rawness and authenticity that defined early body positivity began to get polished, rebranded, and resold back to us as body neutrality, self-acceptance, or the ever-trendy self-care. These terms, while not inherently bad, often function as PR-friendly slogans for a movement that has lost its bite. Instead of challenging beauty standards, we're now subtly encouraged to conform to them, just more politely. Now you're not expected to look perfect. You're just expected to look naturally good, like a girl who drinks enough water, meditates at sunrise, and uses the right vitamin C serum. And this brings us to what I call soft policing. It's not as overt or aggressive as fat shaming or body snark, but it's still a mechanism of control. It's the subtle tone of judgment masked as a compliment. It's the comment on your barefaced selfie that says, implying that showing your real face is a courageous act. It's the admiration for the girl who's effortlessly thin, contrasted with quiet disdain for someone who poses confidently in a bikini if she doesn't fit the hourglass mold. It's the casual conversation that elevates, I don't wear makeup, to a kind of moral superiority, as if caring about your appearance is somehow shallow. but only if you're not the right kind of pretty to get away with not caring. In this new aesthetic landscape, low maintenance has become high stakes identity. Being cool, attractive, and socially acceptable now requires you to look beautiful without looking like you're trying. It's not enough to be pretty, you have to be effortlessly pretty. You can't be caught wanting beauty too badly or working too hard for it. In fact, the worst thing you can be under this new regime is visible in your effort. The pressure hasn't disappeared. It's just been reframed as personal wellness, self-optimization, or clean living. But this isn't a new game. We've seen this kind of aesthetic policing before, especially through the lens of pop culture's cool girl archetype. Think Cameron Diaz, There's Something About Mary, or the countless dream girls from early 2000 rom-coms, effortlessly thin, always low-key hot, never obsessed with their appearance, but somehow always flawless. She drinks beer, eats fries, doesn't own a hairbrush, and still wakes up looking like a shampoo commercial. This character was always fictional, but she left a real imprint in how women were told to perform beauty. The cool girl was never meant to challenge beauty standards. She just made it look like she didn't care about them, while still silently adhering to all of them. Fast forward to now, and we've just given the cool girl a new wardrobe and skincare routine. Today she might be Hailey Bieber, with her glazed skin and minimalist routines, or TikTok's Alex Earl, walking you through a no makeup look that somehow involves 10 different products. This version of beauty is marketed as authentic and accessible, but it's still a performance. The effort may be hidden under a layer of dewy skin and natural light, but it's still work, emotional, financial, and physical. Even in influencer culture, the aesthetic of self-acceptance has become a content genre. Posting your real self becomes an act of branding. Sharing your flaws becomes a way to gain relatability points, as long as you still look good doing it. The narrative shifts from look how perfect I am to look how effortlessly imperfect I am, and yet both messages still leave you feeling like you're not enough. And here's where it gets even more twisted. In this era of soft policing, other women often become the enforcers, because when beauty is framed as self-discipline or wellness, failing to meet the standard isn't just seen as an aesthetic flaw, it becomes a moral one. You didn't just skip your skincare routine, you let yourself go. You didn't just wear full glam, you tried too hard. The scrutiny has gone underground, but it's still alive and well in the comments, DMs, and quiet glances. And now it's cloaked in the language of concern, health, and just being real. So we have to ask, are we actually moving forward with beauty standards? Or have we just learned to police each other in more socially acceptable ways? Because if the end goal is still to be thin, clear-skinned, and pretty, but to pretend we don't care about any of it, then we haven't broken the mold. We've just put a soft focus filter over it. So here's where we land. The era of the Instagram face may be fading, but beauty culture, it never really disappears. It just shapeshifts. One decade's full glam contour becomes next decade's no makeup. The glossy sheen of 2019 becomes the dewy skin serum glow of 2025. The fresh faced supermodels of the 90s to the curated minimalism of today's clean girl aesthetic. The beauty ideal has evolved, but the pressure has not. The goalpost simply moves. Each time we think we've escaped the standard, it reappears, just dressed in softer colors, cleaner packaging, and more inclusive language. And that's the trap. The problem isn't whether it's glam or bareface, maximalist or minimalist, contoured or clean. The problem is that there's still a standard at all. One that's always just out of reach for most of us, yet marketed as a personal choice, as if opting into this elaborate aesthetic performance is a form of freedom. But that's not just empowerment, that's just aesthetic control with a glossier finish, a prettier filter, and a more relatable one. We're told to love ourselves as we are, but only if as we are still looks good on camera. So the next time you catch yourself feeling guilty for not looking naturally beautiful, or putting in too much or too little effort, pause, take a breath. Remember that even the effortless look takes effort, and maybe, just maybe, the most radical thing we can do isn't finding the perfect serum or the trendiest brow shape. It's giving ourselves permission to stop performing altogether. So what do you think? Is beauty culture generally changing, or are we just learning how to wear the mask more convincingly? Let me know in the comments below. I love to hear your thoughts. And it is weird. I don't really like that the whole skinny look is back again. I'm really seeing it on social media now. I find it like a bit too intimidating. I feel like even the 2015s were almost more tolerable than the look now. Now it's like weird cyborg, super skinny AI face, clean girl with no makeup, but yet you're spending thousands on and lasers to have that no makeup. It's just weird, the whole thing. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'd love to know your comments.